Look at you guys. Like, I could sit in marketing conferences all day long every day, but you guys, this is really great. Pat yourselves on the back. So I am Alison of Sparq Marketing, and these gals right here, I brought them in. They're part of my team because nobody wants to listen to me for 35 minutes, 45 minutes. So we're just going to introduce ourselves, and here's my tagline. I hope it works. I hope it's good. Ignite the brand with Sparq. And I'm Alison. I'm the founder of Sparq Marketing, and CEO. And I would like to introduce Jennifer. I'm not going to read on that for you. So,
hi, I'm McKenna. I handle a lot of the social media accounts that Sparq manages.
And I'm Jennifer, and I do a lot of photography for Sparq, as you'll see in some of the slides.
Nice.
So, and then I have them up here just in case there are questions and they would like to chime in. Part of what we do, it's really funny because we're like the behind the scenes people all the time. We're like behind the camera or behind the computer. We don't get up here and speak very often, but we're excited to, and we're really honored on behalf of the Chamber. So what we're going to be talking about is branded content. Branded content. And Casey and Kristen actually set the stage for what we're going to do, because without the background information of what they just talked about, you would be wondering, what the heck are we doing here? So we're going to talk more about the branded content piece. They talked about the traditional marketing, right? Social media marketing, and then we have Google. And then Kristen talked about strategy, which is huge. We do less strategy, but we do more execution. So it's a perfect balance. So in a world of AI, how many are a little nervous about AI? What it's gonna bring? I think that's the general temperature out there. Creating branded content will help you stand out from the crowd. Discover what branded content means, why it can be ignored, and how to create branded content using big brand tactics on a small business budget. So branded content is about telling the story. You probably have all heard that people want more stories. People want to hear about other humans and doing what humans do. So the brand story is increasing overall company awareness and establishing an emotional connection with their audience. So all the pictures that we're going to show here are done by the team. And so you'll see branded content pieces for our clients in a lot of these photos. So here we're branding it for a shopping center that we do marketing for, and we have one of the businesses in the shopping center, and we also have two of our models. So I'll show you, and then we have a bag and a bag here, but this is branded content. It's supposed to create a feeling of belonging, of course, of shopping, and happy people doing what people do. Women shop together. So this is a photo of that. It also has the beautiful trees in the background of the clients and a lot of those elements in here. So when you see it on social, it's supposed to create that feeling of, I want to go and I want to shop for a lifestyle photo. So characteristics of branded content. It's more about intangible qualities of the brand values and brand image, mutual interests and shared values. I'm going to show you examples here in the future. I'm going to kind of spew everything out for you and then show you some examples. It's more about entertaining the customer or the visitor, and it also connects you with the audience. So here in this photo, imagine if it was just a photo of the restaurant, as beautiful as it is, but there were no people in it. Right? It's still good, but it doesn't have that humanistic value. And you don't see people eating, people interacting, and that sort of thing. So there are different forms of branded content. Casey talked a lot about video. Video is key. Right now, it draws you in. I'm kind of a little nervous about video and AI. I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, it's out there already, and there's tons of examples and some training examples of video and AI. But because of that, people are going to look for more, I keep saying human, the human value, bringing more of the human element into things. I was just listening to a podcast the other day. Who's a podcast listener? Yeah, okay. So I wasn't until last year, and my son talked to me about marketing podcasts. I'm like, oh, why did I do this sooner? So I've been listening to all these marketing podcasts, and in the podcasts, this is branded content. So they're talking about the subject that they're talking about, and then they'll talk about, oh, and in my book that I wrote, XYZ, or in my course that I'm teaching, so it's selling their, whatever they're doing, while they're branding their content for their podcast. So I thought that was really interesting. What we also do for clients is we run events, and events are another way of doing branded content. When we do a lot of shopping center work, and so our events for shopping centers is we want the parents to bring the kids, and the kids are going to have fun, but the parents of course have to come, so we market to the parents. And that's a good way of doing branded content, right? So yes, the tenants pay into the marketing fund, and then our fees are paid through the marketing fund. So we bring people to the center, but it's for the event, whether it be an Easter event or Halloween or Christmas event, but we also want them to shop. And so that happiness or the enjoyment coming from the event translates into sales for the tenants. So these are just different forms of branded content. I got some stories for you. So I don't know who's heard of Passion Planner or have used Passion Planner. Okay, so Passion Planner's founder is Angelia, and Angelia, she is a sorority sister of mine. She went to UCLA. Nice. And I don't know if you know the story about Passion Planner, but basically I think it was 2013, and she launched on Kickstarter, and she was the #1, I don't know, the funds that she created from Kickstarter, she was like top of the charts. And she's done that 3 other times since. It's a huge story. I had a client back then who was interested in doing a Kickstarter, and so I reached out to Angelia. Didn't really know her, knew her through acquaintances, and she messaged me back, and I don't know if you can see this, but she said, hi, I would tell them to focus on their story, because that's really how to connect with people. This is not new. Storytelling is not new, but it is so, so important for your business. She also said, and Krista might attest to this, Simon Sinek, through his TED Talk, I think it's called Start With Why, yep. But it's amazing, phenomenal. He did that years and years ago, but he talked about people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that plays into a little bit about what you were talking about with the strategy and of your business and why. So definitely that is one video to watch. So she started her whole business that she didn't know what she was doing in college. Her parents wanted her to be a doctor, and she didn't want to, so she got into UCLA, but then quickly found out that that's not what she wanted to do, and she was kind of in this never land until she wrote some ideas down on paper. And when she did that, the world started opening up to her, and that's why she created Passion Planner. And so that backstory is the reason why she was so successful. So I could talk about Sparq marketing all day long, but the reason why I got started, and this is another story that I wanted to tell you, is that here's my dad, my mom, and my oldest kid, Mia. And I don't know if you can see, but he's holding this big, heavy camera. He's always been into cameras. From when he was little, he was always into cameras, and so he's carried it around forever and ever. And this is why I think, like, I have to document everything that I do. So I'm always having my camera out, which is my phone. But he is the kind of the backbone of how I got started. And that's a story that not many people know, and I should talk about that more. But as I was thinking about Angelia Trinidad, I remembered, like, oh, I should talk about the reason why Sparq is around today. So a little bit about the storytelling piece. Who's watched the Real Beauty sketches by Dove? And this is like the big brand, yes, okay. So millions and millions of people have watched this video, but you should Google it. So this is big budget examples, and then we're gonna bring it home. Well, you know, I don't know if any of you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the marketing budget. So I'm just saying, big budget examples. So they hired, so Dove hired an FBI forensic artist, and he drew sketches of women as they were explaining themselves. And then he would have another gal in the waiting room that they'd been talking and drew sketches of what they thought the other person looked like. And it's very, very moving. But that's an example. They're not selling sketches, right? They're not selling artwork, but they're selling beauty products and skincare products and soap and things like that. So that was one story that plays into the marketing. And still today, this was, I don't know, 10 years ago? But it's still today, it's everywhere on their website. That's what they're promoting, is a mission for women to feel beautiful. So that's a great story. Who's watched the Lego movie? I mean, I've got, my kids love Legos. And so the Lego movie is, yes, it's for entertainment, but it's geared to sell Legos, but you don't specifically know that, right? When you're watching it, you're like, it's great entertainment, but it's specifically to sell Legos. So this is what big budget examples of Lego content looks like. So small business branded content ideas. So what we do is we hire and we strategize on what our props are going to be and what shots we're going to take of different tenant and businesses, and that's how we do what we do. And so these are small business content ideas. So obviously this is a nail shop, and a photographer will come in and take different shots of different things. And what we do is we use this content for a 3-month period. So it's not just for tomorrow or for the next day, but you could use this content ongoing for longer periods of time. So it's very cost effective. So we'll take like this picture on the far side. This picture is of the different colors that are used, right? The different branding, the different colors. Then here in the middle, this is more of like a cozy feel. Like if you go to this nail salon, it's cozy and it's very attractive to go to. And then here, this is the lovely McKenna. This is the actual art of somebody doing your nails. And so yes, this is what happens when you go to this nail salon. So all three are quick shots that you could take for your business. And I want to kind of separate that out from ads. Now, you could obviously make your ads however you want to look, but I just pulled this off the internet. So there's a difference between these photos. Let's say you're seeing it on social media, right? Or these photos right here. There's something about the human value that is really, really great that'll stop your scroll here. But here you might say, oh, maybe I can refer back to that later, or it's not as eye-catching as the actual photography that was taken. And not to say that ads are bad. Ads are not bad. It's just you have to, what we feel the best way to get your brand across to somebody who's clicking in for the first time or finding you on the Explore page is to have a variance of content, and branded content is really good.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes.
that? Is it more important to have the pictures be your pictures as opposed to stock photos for the branded content?
That's a great question. So stock photos, as you may or may not know, it's obviously cheaper. A lot of them are free right now, or you can get stock photos for your business. That's really, really tough. I think it depends on what you're doing. If I wouldn't do it as, a baker, or, for your muffins, you wouldn't post somebody else's muffins, right? If it's people in a meeting room and you're trying to talk about, events or something like that. Maybe, but I think a lot of times people will see through that. That's, I think, the fault if you use too much of the branded stock photography than using your own. And just remember that if you do have a photographer that you work with, I know there's a couple amazing photographers right here. Lily Dog, actually, she took my first headshot. So I go way back. But photographers could come in, and I know you're going to talk about it a little bit, but they could take, dozens of pictures of certain things in the room, so you could use it on an ongoing basis. And McKenna will talk about the importance of a photo gallery. So when you're in a hurry, when you want to just choose the photos that you want for, the next 12 posts on social, that's important too. Great question.
Yes, I do have a question. So it's interesting to me. It sounds like you're saying, we're designers, so photography is very important for us, and we try to do these great shots of the places we remodel. But then our photographer also likes to take pictures of us in the rooms, and we always struggle to understand which ones should we prioritize. Should we have ourselves in the shot, or should we, push more for the just do the picture without us?
Who wants to answer her? Who wants to answer her? Yes, right here.
I think that you should always put yourself in it as much as possible, because it's your story.
Well, actually, we were just talking about it. Yeah, we were just talking about it because she does interior design. And what you were saying in that restaurant, humanizing a place makes it like, oh, people have been there also. So I'm going to go there. But I want to say about the stock photo is that what if I went to your place and I went to another acupuncturist, they have the same stock photos. That would make you, you have your low budget, you don't care about marketing, whatever.
That's a good point. I would say do both, because you're going to probably want the before and after. And I think before and afters are better with nobody in them. But to humanize your photo, it's great to have, reading a magazine, sitting on a couch, having a cup of coffee, doing what people do, right? Conversing with a friend. Those are some really great ideas.
Is it a balance between being too polished in the photos and having more real look to it also, or?
That's a great question too. I teach, and what we try to do is a balance between the two. There's always going to be a need for iPhone photos or cell phone photos. We're doing an event, and we want to promote real-time photos, right? We're going to do that with our phones. But there's always a time for the DSLR to come in and be the hero and save the day. So there's a good balance of both. That's what I better hurry through, right? Wow. Okay, so this is just here. You have a sense of what this business, when you walk through the door, this is Brain Treatment Center in Danville. But these pictures elicit another emotion, right? There's people in it. This is what they do. The gal, puts something on. This is actually her son, so this is really cute. But this is what they do for kids when they're trying to evaluate. So it just elicits a different emotion. Here, I wanted to point out, this is a gal who did a shot with us. And yes, are we promoting Miss Delino here? Yes, of course. But we're also promoting, we don't just have a picture like this. This is a different emotion than somebody actually shopping and buying.
Right.
So, also go here. So these pictures are so cute. It actually gave us a lot of value for these two kids. So Ricky is the owner of American Barber Company at Danville, and he brought his kids in. The reason why this worked is the kids are cute, yes, but kids are kids, and people love to see kids. There's seasonal props here, but we're not looking at the haircuts that they do or the shaves that they do. We're looking at the kids. Here, the kids are really cute. Lastly, here, our main objectives for the events are to keep people happy, right? They create memories, they build awareness. It's just as important as, trying to bring in people on a daily basis, like footfall for the center, but 4 times a year we have big events over at Danville. And I wanted to bring the point home about video and reels, so hopefully this comes out.
And with that, the 2023 season began. Good night.
So it's beautiful. It tells the story of what we did this past year. It is short, less than 30 seconds, and it brings a sense of value and branding for the livery, because that's everything that we did in the entire year. It's one of the reels that got the biggest views in the past couple months, so I wanted to show that to you.
How many seconds should each image have? I've experimented different ways on slideshows on our website, and sometimes they say, oh, well, that's too quick, and this sometimes like, oh, it's slow. It is like, is it an age thing? No, seriously. I mean, it's like, so, you know, the younger ones are like, oh, it took so long, and the older ones are like, oh.
So Alison and I always talk about that because, like, I'm, you know, a younger generation, and so I'm like, no, it has to be fast. This one was following like a specific template that was popular at the time, so that's why it was so fast. It was following, you know, people were used to seeing that end of the year recap type of thing on the beat. It totally depends. There's not like one answer.
And you know, and for your website, you know, I think people are moving away from sliders and just having a static image. But I don't know the situation, but yes, I would go slow. Because there's a generation out there that, you know, won't even go to a website. They'll go to social media to find you. And that generation.
What is slow though? Is it half a second? A second?
Oh, slow would be like 5.
Yeah, I think the
Upwards of
website
5
would be
seconds.
totally different than social media. Yeah.
Yeah, or at least 25.
If your product isn't very visual, like mine is knowledge, how do I capture my brand that I'm like helping parents to be amazing in education?
That's a great question. I thought about you, we've talked before. You could have, you know, mother and son, mother and daughter come in, and you could take, obviously, photo release with them, make sure they're okay with all of this, but just take certain pictures of you interacting with the child. I know a lot of it's online, right? But there could be a sense of in person. So that's what you would do. You would consulting, you would have, you know, pictures of them consulting with you and things like that. If it's online, you could do the same thing. You could also do images of testimonials. I think you do a fair share of that. But yes, so bring a family in with you to meet with you.
Ones that are not like bringing somebody in, because that's going to increase how much I have to pay for like putting these things out there and then putting them out there 3 to 4 times a week. And I can imagine maybe in front of books, me. But
In front of books, you, Lafayette, the backdrop of beautiful Lafayette. You could be, I think it's okay to take pictures in the library, but just public places, because people know the public places around here. I think Jennifer's going to talk about that a little bit, but I have extended, I need to get off, I'm being pulled. But great question though, we can talk more about that later. Okay.
No, it's not going to work.
But Jennifer is next.
But Jennifer is next. Yes, Jennifer.
There were so many great questions, and I feel like I'm going to maybe talk about things we already talked about because you all have such great questions. I wanted to say something in case I forget, but about the stock photography. I recently redid someone's website photos where they had used stock photography and they were gorgeous, but they don't look like what the place looks like. The people that come to them look like. And so it creates a discrepancy between what's real, which we're talking about, and what actually exists. So I think it's really valuable to have, like he had a stock image of someone pulling a cell phone because he does a lot of virtual like classes, and he like, we redid him holding the phone. You know, we got that like, that specific about the imagery. And then there was about the images for you, you know, showing, I did this with this same client, is like he does Zoom sessions. What does it look like when you're sitting talking to someone on Zoom? Like, can we see you doing that? I think people like to know, what is that gonna look like when I do this thing? You know, so just like really breaking down, like, what are the things I actually do? I'm gonna talk about this a little bit, but we take for granted that people wanna see what those things are. Okay, so this kind of speaks to what I'm gonna talk about is, we all know this, we live in an extremely visual world. We spend a lot of time on our phones scrolling through content. I don't know if you look at how long you spend every day on your phone, but it's a lot, right? And half of it you don't even realize you're seeing that you were seeing it. And I do this sometimes. I just catch myself like scrolling and I'm like, what am I doing? But what will make you stop? You know, and I think that's where having really great, engaging, professional images, they don't have to be from a professional photographer. They can be on your iPhone, but the difference is that there was thought put into them. And I think that's what makes people stop, is that you thought about, well, okay, I want to show myself doing these online lessons. Well, where will I place the computer? Where will I be? You want it to look beautiful. You want them to feel, what is the feeling that you want them to have when they are going to come to you? That they're going to feel safe, you know? Yes?
Just one thing, you want it to look beautiful but real.
Yes, and so I should say that to me, real is beautiful, so we can just put those two things together. Yeah, so, and when you're thinking about professional photography, which we feel the value of, is that a professional photographer is geared towards thinking about these things. They, you know, you guys probably get so sick of hearing me talk about like, oh, we have to do the photo right there because the light's so beautiful. So this is something that we think about, and you know, when I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see National Geographic's photos, I for sure pause. Like, there's you know when you see a beautiful image. Probably with your interior design, when you see, I follow Arch Digest and Dwell magazine, and well, I stop when I see these gorgeous images of these places. Another value that professional photography brings is that, Alison was talking about this a little bit, is that when we are doing photos, we think about what's there that maybe you hadn't seen. It's so valuable to have someone else look at what you do from an outside perspective, because you think of it a certain way. You know, like for me, I think, oh, she didn't think about showing herself doing the class, because you're just doing the thing, right? And so showing other people these things you do is really valuable. And I'm gonna just skip to, the other thing is, Alison touched on this, is that, you know, in one 1 to 2 hour photo shoot, you can get several months worth of content. You can take, you know, I know you're an architecture, a beautiful photo of what the needles look like in the bowl. I love those photos. You know, the beautiful flower in a bowl of water at the entrance to the, you know, all these things that sort of tell a story of like, coming to this place is like a sanctuary. You can get those, you can get photos of you doing what you do. You can bring in a mock, you know, bringing in a mock client or person to be in your photos, which we have done with we kind of use each other, or we invite community volunteers to come. You can bring a friend, and sort of mock up what you do in your photos. Yeah, so I wanted to, we were talking about using that people are really feeling drawn to seeing real people, and this is George the Plumber on Instagram. He has 50,000 followers. So that was kind of interesting, because I follow the Stocksy newsletter, which is a stock photography company, and in their email newsletter this week, they said in regards to 2024 trends that as AI's influence grows, so too does the demand for human-generated content, reflecting a desire for transparency, ethical practice, and genuine narratives. I really think small businesses just naturally have that going for them, you know? They describe this type of imagery as seeing people as they are, which is kind of what I was talking about. Genuine experiences of the world and homegrown perspectives. They also said that there was a 177% increase in the search term for real people.
Wow.
So, George is meeting that. Okay. So we kind of talked about so what does that look like to make it more real. So for an interior designer, I for sure think, if you invite the family to participate in the photos of the space, it brings it to life. Like, what does it look like when they're all just hanging out on the couch? That family might really love to also have those photos. Those are memories for them of this new space at a time in their life. So it's sort of a win-win. If you invite them to do that, you bring in a photographer, you do it on your phone, then you have this content that you can share about this new space, and it really brings it to life. I'm giving here the example of an artist. Instead of just posting the art that you're creating, when someone buys your art, what does it look like when they place it on the wall? Of course, and this could apply to a lot of people, getting a photo with your clients after a job's been done, getting a photo with the people you're teaching, getting photos together to show how much you care about these people. These are people. So yes, people, more people. For a real estate agent, offering that new buyer a little photo session. Like, okay, let's do, and this is actually a thing. A new home photo shoot is a thing that they buy their home and you offer them a photo in the empty space. They're super cute. You can see down here of the couple like laying on the floor. It could be with the family like playing in the backyard. But this totally makes this thing that you want to share. Like, hey, I'm a really amazing real estate agent. I just sold this house. But these are the people. This is why I do it. Okay, so these are some things to think about when you're planning your visual storytelling, and we do this, is to think ahead to what are the things that I would want to create images for. Do I have events coming up? Do I have promotions coming up? And so instead of saying, hey, it's 50% off, what does it look like when someone's holding the things that are 50% off? 50% off. Asking yourself, we were talking about this, how do I make it more real? As the trend report said, that making it more real is what's popular, especially with AI, that people are really want to feel more connected to more humans. And then having a visual language too with your imagery that you share so that it's consistent. So for example, there's different photography terms, but do you like images that are fresh and clean, that are minimal? Do you like images that have more going on in them? There's no right or wrong, but it's just about consistency, like choosing, so that when someone goes and they look at what you're doing, they're like, oh yeah, I get it, that's what they're about. I really like, we were talking about this, I really love moody images. They're hard to use, but if you do it, you have to go all in. You can't do the moody and then make it, like over-saturated one, because moody is undersaturated. So a way to think about this too is for you to really look at what you're seeing and think, I feel drawn to that. Why don't I like that? And I don't think it needs to be overcomplicated. You can just really think about trying out minimal images, which is sort of like someone work it on their laptop in the image and stick with that for a while and see if you like that. And then eventually find a consistency with your visual language. Okay, so I want to give you just a few moments. Okay, we're not going to do this. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna make this as the homework then. It wasn't actually initially the homework. So if your homework is to write down 5 images that could tell the story of your brand, and get really as specific as you can, like you're storyboarding them kind of, and then try them out. And don't feel like it has to be a professional. Try them out on your phone with your family or a friend. Hey, could you come over and help me create some images? You could trade with a friend. Like, can we help each other get 10 images for the next month that we could share? But writing it down will help you have like a prompt to start with. Okay.
All right, I am gonna have to go pretty quickly, and then if you guys have questions, we can stick around at the end. Okay, so we've talked a lot about like visual content. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about like what I, as a social media manager, then do with that visual content, right, that we have. So this is a tool called a content calendar. You may have heard of this. And content calendars are really great planning tools that can help you stay on top of posting in an organized fashion. So we're gonna skip ahead and then we'll kind of come back to this in a minute. Alright, so here's one of our photo galleries with pictures that Jennifer took. For me, having an organized photo gallery that I can pull content from just makes posting content so much easier, right? So at Sparq, what we do is, depending on the client, but about every 3 months we'll plan a photo shoot. We go and we shoot a ton of content. So when we do that, we'll be thinking ahead. So it's January right now. So if we were doing a photo shoot today, we'd probably shoot some Valentine's Day content, but we'd be thinking even further ahead to springtime, Easter. So seasonal content is really fun. It just kind of, especially on social media. So we'd be thinking ahead, maybe try to do something like flowers, something spring, Easter. And then anything else that we take throughout the month, we're also going to throw into this gallery so that then we can just plug it all into our content calendar. So this is an example of one. I actually just made this for a client. So what I did is this is 15 posts. I may add more throughout the month, but 15 posts is a really good start for your month. So I plugged in a bunch of photos. We use like a rotation system. And then what I also did is I have some placeholders in here. They're hard to see. But for instance, we have Valentine's Day. I haven't made a Valentine's Day post yet. It's January. So I just went ahead and stuck in a placeholder on the 14th. We're going to have a Valentine's Day post. We also think about national days. There's tons of national days. These are really fun. So at the delivery, we have a tenant who has really great pizza. So February 9th is National Pizza Day. So I went ahead and put in a placeholder that we're going to do a fun post for National Pizza Day on the 9th. And then this is also really helpful if you have events or promotions. Like if we had an event at the end of February, this would help me start thinking about when I want to start promoting that event. So it would be the end of February and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't promoted that event yet. I've already planned out when I'm going to start doing those posts. Okay, so then once I have these planned out, when I go to post, I just need the caption, right? We already have the photos planned. So the caption is where you give a voice to your visual content. And you can really do the captions however you want. So one thing to consider is your brand voice. When you choose the tone you want to consider your ideal audience and also what's appropriate for your business. So for instance, if you're a bank or a law firm, you're probably going to keep your captions really professional. If you're marketing towards a younger audiences really like when businesses use like a little bit more of an informal tone or incorporate humor. So you just have to think, if you don't know, you can test out. If you're sharing educational content, you might want to make your captions longer. If your audience is just, otherwise you might be able to stick with a shorter caption, and you can test out different captions and see, okay, which post got more engagement? Which post, did a longer caption, did more people comment? Or, nope, I'm going to stick with shorter captions. The other thing we like to do in our captions is have a call to action. So this can be asking our audience to engage on that specific post. So you could do this by saying, save this post for later. Like this post if you agree. You can ask a question, what is your favorite? Or, leave a comment and tell us. And that can create engagement on that post and boost it. And kind of have your audience stop for a sec and engage with that post. It could also be directing your audience somewhere else. So you could be directing them to a link. You could have contact information. Your call to action could be saying, call or send me a message. Just telling your audience what to do next, what now after they've read your post. And then if you're really stuck, maybe you're new to writing captions, there are AI tools like ChatGPT that can help you write Instagram captions, but we recommend you don't just copy and paste these, okay? It can be good to get you started if you have writer's block, but your audience is really going to be looking for authenticity, and you're not going to find that with AI tools. Okay, so we're going to talk for a minute about content pillars, and this is different types of content. So we recommend that you choose between 3 to 5 different types of content that you want to post on your page. And this is good to go back to when you're struggling to think of content ideas, when you're like, I don't know what to post. You can go back and think, okay, well this is the type of content that I was going to post. It'll also help create consistency on your page, which will strengthen your brand identity, right? When someone goes to your page, they really see what your brand is about. So it can either be topics that you've decided to talk about within your industry, or here's some different types of content. So you can post authoritative or educational content and share useful information with your followers, and this can help establish you as a leader within your industry. Behind the scenes content is really fun, giving your audience a closer, more personal look at your business. And then you can also post conversational content. This again can help create engagement with your audience. You can ask questions, kind of try to facilitate a discussion. Sorry, I know I have to go really fast. Okay, so back to our content calendar. So this is kind of a template just to give you guys some ideas. And then, for instance, if I were the owner of a women's clothing boutique, I might take this and then use it, kind of tweak some stuff to create posts. So on February 3rd, we have share a tutorial related to your products. So I would probably want to do a video, maybe a 15-second video of how to style one of my products, and that would be really fun. We have funny or entertaining posts. Funny and entertaining posts can do really well on social media. So you can try to find a meme that has to do with your industry, or I might try to find a current TikTok trend that's funny and then recreate it to have to do with my industry. Those tend to perform really well. I'm gonna, for engage with your audience with a question, I might post 2 photos, 2 different products or 2 different options, and then ask my audience which do you prefer. If I'm selling clothes, I might style something 2 different ways, and then ask my audience anything to really engage with them. You're finding out their preferences. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hand out the content calendar templates, and we want to challenge you guys to use this if you have social media, just to try to give you ideas for the month of February and see if you can follow this to create more posts. So that is all I have, and then if you guys have questions, for any of us, not just me.